agenda for us? Mr. Squella, are you part of the meeting? Hello?
I'm here, sir.
Yes, can you please flat the agenda for us so that we can start? The chair will join us later and then she will take over.
Okay, noted, Honorable Whip. The agenda is presented.
Okay, but I can't see it clearly. It's very small, but okay, I can see we've got 6 agenda items. And let me welcome the honorable members and apologize for starting late because there was an overlap of this starting time with the plenary, which was still going on. But let me welcome everyone, Minister, Honorable Pando, Deputy Minister, Honorable Botes, and members of the committee, and also our support staff and the department which is with us here. Now, I think we can then just go to the next item. And Mr. Squella, can you assist us on that item which deals with apologies? Are there any apologies from your side? Mr. Squella, can you unmute your mic?
Yes, Honorable Whip.
Your line is terrible, Mr. Squella. We can't hear you properly. Can you change the spot?
But Honorable Whip, I'm struggling with the network.
It's like you are talking from a big hole and there's echo also, so we can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, but we are far away from your mic. But can you say, can you mention what apologies do we have?
We have 2 apologies. Honorable Mola will join a bit later, and we joined, he had already joined, but he's not feeling well. So he was off.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Squella. Although really we are struggling to hear you, but 2 apologies. Honorable members, can I have a mover of those apologies and a seconder?
I move that the apologies be accepted, sir.
Thanks, Honorable Swords. Any seconder?
A second, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Nkosi, thanks very much. Without wasting any time, let's then get a mover of the adoption of the agenda. as it was presented by our committee secretary.
I move for the adoption.
Thanks, Honorable Swart. Seconder.
I second, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Nkosi. Okay, without wasting any time, I don't know who is representing the department. Can I request those who are coming from the department to introduce themselves and then indicate who is going to be leading us with the presentation. I don't want us to go to the last issue that we dealt with in our last portfolio committee, where members were expressing unhappiness about the fact that the acting DG was not present at the meeting and there was no apology. And then people who were coming from the department had to introduce themselves, whereas we have an established norm in this committee that officials from the department are introduced by the DG, and then he decides who to hand over to do the presentation. So I will be guided by members, but be without preempting, because I've not seen whether the acting DG is in or not. Can we just get someone from the department so that we will then ascertain whether the DG is here or not, and whether there's been communication with the office of the chair or the committee secretary that maybe someone is delegated from the department. But when we listen to the apologies, we did not hear any apologies from the department. So can I then get someone from the department?
If I could, DG, this is Naledi Pando.
Yes,
if I could,
Minister.
sorry, Chairperson, my apologies.
Okay.
Chairperson, I've got the DG who should be online. I saw that she was earlier. I'm not sure why her name is not showing, but the acting DG, correctly I should have said, acting DG Losi, Ambassador Losi, should be connected, and I believe she will lead the presentation on the item on the agenda. Through you, Chairperson, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Minister, for that. Because also the other issue that we wanted also to be dealt with, as I'm talking about our last portfolio committee, was that the acting DG was not yet introduced in the committee by a good self, or maybe one of the deputy ministers were present. So if she comes, then we will request you, Minister, to formally introduce her to the committee, and then we will then take the matter or the process forward once we have done that. Now, honorable members, I don't know whether what are you suggesting then? Do we wait? Because I'm not sure whether the DG, but if she's here, if she can indicate.
Chair. I'm here, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay. Nice to see you, but you are not clearly visible. I don't know whether maybe my screen. Now you can.
Am I visible now?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. You look bright and shining, and we welcome you. But can I hand over to the minister to do the formal introduction of yourself to the committee?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I noted Honorable Msani had her hand up. I'm not sure whether she wished to comment before I am allowed to speak, as well as I noted Reverend Mishwe's hand was also up. I don't know if there's a point that they may make which could assist me in the task you've assigned to me. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much, Minister. My apology, honorable members. I was not watching the area where you raise your hands. So you can just then, as the minister is saying, can I start with Honorable Msane, and then followed by Honorable Reverend Mshreu, and then we'll then move with the meeting process once you have made your point. Over to you, Honorable Msane.
Idlulile Chair, ngizoyithatha uMinister sekaqedile.
Honorable Mshreu.
I'm covered, Chairperson, because I raised my hand when you said you don't know who of the department is going to do the presentation. So I was going to suggest that because the Honorable Minister is with us, she should do that. But you are covered now. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Chairperson, I see that you are now in. Can I please hand over this session to you, Chairperson, to carry on with chairing the meeting? Okay. No, thanks very much, Chairperson. I think then let us then allow you, Honorable Minister, to formally introduce the acting DG to this portfolio committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Chairperson, the acting Director General is the current DDG serving as head of consular services in the branch. And also she's the chief of protocol in South Africa, Ambassador Losi. So she's the acting DG and will be leading on the presentation that is linked to the agenda, Chair, that the committee has adopted and which is based on the letter that the chairperson wrote to me. Thank you very much, Chairperson. I don't know whether I didn't bring her CV, but should you wish, I'll quickly Google and when you give me an opportunity, I'll give you an overview if that is required. I believe Ambassador Losi is known to the Portfolio Committee from previous Portfolio Committee interactions. And she's currently serving as one of the DDGs in the department. I thank you, Chairperson.
No, thanks very much, Honorable Minister. I don't think there will really be a need for you to bring the whole CV. I think this brief introduction, I think, assists us. So now we know who are we dealing with and how does she look like at the formal level of this committee. Honorable Msane, before we hand over to the DGs, we still want to raise an issue. I could see some hands. Let me see. Msane, and then followed by Honorable Chetty, in that order.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. As I had raised a point of privilege in our previous meeting, where the acting DG was not present, and I reserved it so that I can be able to table it at this platform where she would be present. Chairperson, I am requesting, and this is apart from other findings that as committee members we discovered at that meeting, which I believe can be made as additions to this points that I want to raise today, Chair. Through you, Chairperson, I would request that the acting DG today at this meeting kindly highlights to this House what is it that us as members of Parliament do in this House and for this country, and also how does her roles and responsibility interlink with our role and with our duties as Member of Parliament. And also I would request, Chairperson, through you, that the acting DG apologizes for her unbecoming behavior and her expressions that she voiced about members of Parliament, about members of this House, on our telephone conversation that I had with her on the 27th of February, 2021. You may ask what was said and how it led to that. I was very disrespected, including all members of Parliament, the 400 odd plus members, when I had a conversation with the acting DG requesting assistance for a desperate South African who was stuck in Oman. So, Chairperson, those are my 2 points, which I would kindly request that the acting DG attends to. Without going any further, if I'm requested to go any further, I will go further, but I find it that we cannot allow the acting DG to address this meeting, Chairperson, unless she clarifies these 2 points that I'm putting on the table. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Msheu.
Aibo.
Megan Chetty, sorry. Honorable Megan Chetty, my apologies. Because those were the two hands.
Yes, Lala, I got worried. I thought you all of a sudden decided to remove me off the platform. Yeah, Chairperson, and good afternoon to all members on this platform. Chair, in view of what the Honorable Msana has just brought to the fore, I think mine is going to be a bit trivial compared to hers, so hers is of a priority. I also want to hear the explanation from the acting DG. I raise my hand, Chairperson, on the point that at our last meeting, we had to call off our meeting. You're very well aware that that was going to be the first meeting where the acting DG was going to be present as well. We were not told about the fact that she was not there. The conduct of both her and her colleagues would try to mislead us as to whether she was there, whether she wasn't there, to contact her to come to the meeting, for her to have prioritized which meeting was important. I believe that there should be an apology forthcoming from the acting DG for her conduct or the manner in which what can be best described as her having undermined this committee when we were having a scheduled meeting that she was not present at. And then we as members wasted our day setting time aside for that meeting, which was canceled. I personally believe, Chairperson, that before she even starts with anything else about introducing this new topic, she owes this committee an apology. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, honorable members. DG and the minister and the deputy minister, you heard what honorable members are raising. I will allow the DG to what honorable members are raising, but what I want to check, Honorable Msani, your discussion was when she was acting, or it was before that? Just for my own.
She was acting DG chair.
Okay. So you were speaking with her in that capacity.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Now, Honorable DG, can you address the issues that the members are raising before we then deal with the presentation that you are going to deliver to us?
Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, honorable members of the committee, and good evening to the chair of the committee. Thank you for according me the opportunity to brief the committee. At the outset, honorable members, I had intended to apologize unreservedly, and I take full responsibility for not having attended that meeting on that particular day, which clashed with the audit committee meeting, with the audit AG meeting. I take full responsibility. I will not blame anyone. I had asked my office to apologize, but I take full responsibility, and I apologize for having wasted the honorable members' time. I fully apologize. On the issue raised by an honorable member, yes, indeed, it was on Friday evening when the honorable member phoned me. She wanted a cell number of our ambassador in Oman, and I had asked her to phone our ops room, and I profusely told her that I didn't have the number. If you may allow me, honorable members, and that I be honest, the honorable member started shouting at me. And I kept on telling her that, honorable member, I do not have the number. May you kindly phone the, what you call the ops room. I do not have the number. And she said the ops room was constantly engaged. I said, yes, they are often, because of this time of the COVID and so forth, repatriation, they are often inundated with calls. She was so angry, and she even threatened to tape me. And I asked her if she wishes to tape me, she can go ahead and tape me, because what I was telling her was honest. I do not have the number. And that is why we have a 24-hour ops room. I told her that. And if she feels that I really disrespected her, I fully apologize unreservedly. But I remember so vividly that day, as she was shouting me, I was with my sisters, and I even said, this is how we're treated, and it is true. But if she feels that the honorable member was disrespected, I fully, unreservedly apologize. I truly, truly apologize. But this is what happened. She was even saying she would tape the call. I said, it's okay, she can tape the call, but we have an ops room. I truly do not have the number for our ambassador in Oman. And that's what transpired that day. But if the member feels that I disrespected her, I fully apologize unreservedly. Thank you, Chairperson, Honorable Chair.
Thanks very much, Acting DG. I think the committee will then.
Whip, I'm trying my hand, but I don't know how to raise it on this gadget.
Oh, so you are raising a hand, Chairperson, because I don't see it here.
I'm trying to raise it, but unfortunately.
Right. Can I hand it over to you? Are you going to carry on then making an input, and you take over as a chair also as well?
I'm not taking over. No, Whip. Whip.
Yes, you can proceed.
I'm perturbed by what the acting DG has just said in this meeting. I don't know, probably it's a clarity seeking question which I'm going to ask from her. She says that she directed Honorable Msane to, I don't know whether it's a toll-free number or what. Can you also rename your gadget, acting DG? Because I had written there that you rename your gadgets, all of you. That she directed Honorable Msane to a toll-free or whatever. Is this how members of parliament are going to be treated? That when we need information from the department and from the acting DG in particular, we are going to be directed to a toll-free number or whatever, or we are going to be redirected. And I remember when Honorable Mzane called me after that particular interaction and was telling me that you write a letter and complain about the whole matter. So I really need to know from the DG that are we going to be directed to toll-free numbers when we need information in the department? And the level of respect amongst us and the officials, it requires that it be mutual. However, once you get no information, certainly you are bound to be frustrated, and especially when someone has an attitude that is supposed to assist you as a member of parliament. So I think I need that clarity, Whip. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much, Chairperson. Can DG respond, acting DG?
Thank you very much, Chair. Not indeed, Madam Chair, Honorable Chair. You will not be. I don't know how, Madam Chair, but I will work on it as we go. I'm going to ask our ICT. I really don't know how, but I will do it. I've noted.
Okay.
Right. Honorable Chair, I see your hand again. Are you wanting to speak? I think we should find a way of wrapping up this matter. I want to make a certain proposal so that we'll then deal with the business of today.
Yeah,
so,
well, Chair, I do the follow-up.
Okay.
And you can wrap up and you can give us the way forward after that.
Okay.
But Chairperson, what you must understand, Chairperson, I think it's important that we clear this right now, right here. And Chairperson, with all due respect, you know the problem we had when we came to this committee and with the manner in which officials were treating members of parliament. Now, during last year, we had this COVID-19 and we're busy with repatriation of South African citizens from abroad. And the former or the suspended DG, and I can put this on record, at 11:30 at night, at 1 o'clock in the morning, when South African citizens were stranded abroad in countries which time zones were different from ours, he offered the courtesy of answering our call or sending us a message if he's in a meeting. I think it's important, Chairperson, that we clear this right here and right now. Just giving us an unreserved apology is as if to say, oh, well, it's okay. I said, I'm sorry, you can't do nothing about it now. Let's carry on. That's unacceptable, Chairperson. We represent the people of this country. In this committee, we deal with South African citizens who are stranded abroad. And their days and their times differ from ours. And for us as members of parliament to do our job diligently and make sure we're representing the interests of South Africans, we cannot have the person holding, even though it's an acting position, the highest position in this department, having that type of an attitude. I'm not going to cast aspersions because I was not there to know who was right and who was wrong. But surely, if an honorable member is saying that they were disrespected by the man and what was happening because they wanted assistance, I don't believe the Honorable Mfana would have called the acting DG because she wanted to go out and have lunch or she wanted her to give her money to do shopping. She must have called her on an item that was dealing of international importance. So I personally do not take very kindly to the fact that the acting DG just washes it away as if to say, okay, I've apologized, I'm sorry, carry on. The second part, Chairperson, once you map the way forward and the DG or the acting DG does the right thing, my next question is to the acting DG. Since she's taken over as the acting DG, and the fact that today she's going to be presenting the report, has any other member or official in her department, apart from the DG who's been suspended, are there any other members or officials that have been suspended in a department surrounding the New York project? Thank you, Slalo.
No, thanks very much, honorable members. I think the DG and the minister and the deputy minister who are present here, they hear how the portfolio committee is feeling with the manner in which things have taken place between members and the acting DG. I just want to add another thing, that also the documents came very late, acting DG. This is the matter also that became our problem, and in such a way that in another meeting, we had to cancel that meeting in the late hours. Myself and the chair, we spoke until 1 o'clock in the morning. And eventually then, because the documents were not available, that meeting had to be cancelled. So I think that is the area also that you should really, really look at, because it's important for members to get enough time to look at the documents so that they can interact on an informed basis when they are in a meeting. So I would suggest that in the interest of time, but the DG can respond if she wants to respond. Maybe let me give you the opportunity, DG, then I come up with the proposal that I want to make.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Once more, Honorable Chair and Honorable members, I apologize for what has happened, and I reassure the committee that I am ready to serve the committee and serve the department. Once again, honorable members, it was not out of disrespect. I want to reassure the committee members that I am willing to serve the committee and the department, and I profusely apologize. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay, no, thanks very much, Acting DG. The proposal that I want to make, if the committee will accept, is that, who is that one? Oh, Msane. Okay, let me give you the last chance now, and then we move forward, okay?
Before you make your proposal, which I know it's a guide and it will assist us to move forward. The question was very clear, Chairperson. I had two questions and they were very clear, and also the question which the acting DG highlights now, that she gave me a toll-free number or whatever number that was. And the question that arises from this whole matter is that how we are going to be treated moving forward? Because we deal with a lot of issues of South Africans who are stranded abroad as this committee. And our role and responsibility, which is why I requested to know Does the acting DG understand what is our role and responsibility as members of parliament? And how does her roles and responsibility interlink into what we are here to do? The whole frustration of being given a toll-free number on a Friday and someone entertaining her friend or her sister, like she says now, and raises her voice and says, this is how we are treated as by members of your parliament. I want to know, Chairperson, is this how we are going to be treated moving forward? Because we are not sitting in this parliament representing ourselves. And I find it very disturbing for the acting DG to just come and brush off this matter with an apology that does not even, it's not even worth the mic that she is speaking on. So Chairperson, when you are about to wrap up and give us a way forward, I will request, Chairperson, that the two roles and responsibilities of us as members of parliament and her as the acting DG and what we are meant to do in this house gets outlined and outlined very clearly, because we cannot be frustrated, Chairperson, by an acting DG when we are used to a working method which was working very fine on how we assist South Africans abroad, and our name as a country is put in jeopardy wherever these people are. And I can tell you now, the matter is still not resolved to date, Chairperson, and I don't know if the person is alive or dead today. And my role was to make sure that this person is rescued from that situation that they were in. So Chairperson, when you give a way forward, please, I request that our roles and responsibilities and how this acting DG must fill in her gap here is very clear. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, honorable members and the acting DG. Of course, this is a rough start between us, but I think it will have to be dealt with, and that it never happens again. So the proposal that I want to make is that the acting DG put the apologies that he has put before the committee in writing, and actually and direct it to the office of the chairperson, so that the chairperson will then, in the next meeting, take us through in terms of that written apology to the committee. And in that letter, as he has assured us that this is happening for the first time and the last time, we need also to have that assurance, and all the issues that Mr. Honorable Msani is raising of outlining how she relates to us should also be covered in that formal letter. The second proposal is that Minister, because we are here with us, and the Deputy Minister, we will request you to deal with this matter with the DG, and then have a talk amongst yourself as to how the DG should relate to the committee and also treat the committee. As the chair is saying, the respect is mutual. If she respects us as a committee, we'll respect her back. But if she doesn't, then she can't expect any respect from us as well. So I'm also leaving that to the minister and the deputy minister to cancel the DG, and also coach her as to how she should interact with the committee going forward. And as for the matter that Honorable Msani was raising, which is still not resolved, I would request the minister, together with your colleague, Deputy Minister Portes, to ensure that matter is followed up and it's resolved. And going forward, Acting DG, please, I want to appeal to you. This should not happen again. And if any member of the portfolio committee is phoning you, please, if you can't assist because of whatever circumstances, please refer the member to the most senior official, maybe who's have authority to assist with a particular issue that the member is raising, rather than refer members of portfolio committees to toll-free. It's really not on. But honorable members, I think we can't then deal with this matter and conclude it now. We will get a report from the chair in our next portfolio committee, and the minister also. We will really want to get a progress report as to how these issues have been dealt with at the departmental level, and with you as the political head of the department or the ministry. So, honorable members, if members then can then allow us to then proceed with the presentation from the acting DG. Now, we have almost dealt with this issue almost for 45 minutes. So I know it's really an issue that was bothering the members. And really, we don't want to start like this. But I think what you must understand, acting DG, even the minister will tell you, we are a very open and frank a portfolio committee. We don't sugarcoat things and become artificial. We deal with issues as they are so that we'll move forward and then deal with other issues which are the core business of both the department and the portfolio committee. So without that, those words and those proposals, if members don't have a problem, can I then request that we allow the acting DG then to give us a presentation, unless there is a member who's vehemently opposed to the way forward and maybe would want to suggest something different. Honorable members. So silence means that we agree, and then we'll wait the next meeting and then get those progress reports and the written apology, which also cover all the issues that members have raised. Acting DG, then can you then take the platform and then do the presentation for the portfolio committee?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Minister, honorable members of the portfolio committee. The department is honored to brief you today and report on the progress made to relocate the permanent missions to the United Nations and the Consulate General in New York to alternative premises. The scope, I was hoping that they'll flight the presentation, Honorable Chair.
Yes, it will assist it very much. Also in line with the fact that we have received documentation very late. So it will assist if at least it's flighted.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Okay, you can proceed now.
Thank you very much, Chair. At the outset, Chair, the department would like to acknowledge and appreciate the committee's oversight visit and subsequent report on our missions in New York, which took place in December. The scope has been flighted, Chair. The presentation I've already covered the background. The presentation will also cover the market research, the suitability of the preferred property, approval processes that we took within the department, contract negotiations, current status, and the next step that the department intends to take. Once more, Honorable Chair, the committee's views on the current accommodation and the urgent need for relocation has indeed given impetus to the matter, and the department is hard at work to realize the objective of relocating the missions in New York to inclusive, decent, safe, and affordable accommodation. Can you move to the next slide, ma'am? Madam CIO, yes, thank you. Furthermore, Honorable Chair, the department is pleased to get this opportunity to report to the committee on the progress achieved to date and the steps it will take in finalizing this important and long outstanding matter. The mission chair entered into a lease agreement for the Chancery in a property situated at the 333 East 38th Street from April 1990 until April 2004. For the first 10 years of the lease, the rental was fixed. On 1st May 2004, the monthly rental escalated and remained fixed at this level until 30 April 2014 when the lease was terminated. The contract, which was signed with SL Green, who sold the building to New York University Langon in 2013, and the new owners bought the property with the exclusive aim of converting it into a medical facility. In view of the above, Chair, the new owner did not wish to renew the lease at its termination in April 2014. And the lease agreement did, however, allow for a continued occupation on a holdover basis, which was agreed to by the owner. Currently, Chair, the South African Mission is the only non-medical tenant as the building has been turned into a hospital. Chair, the committee's oversight visit and the subsequent COVID-19 situation compelled the department to initiate urgent steps to relocate the mission. The mission, Chair, contacted 3 real estate agencies on its database and viewed available office accommodation in close proximity to the United Nations, and this happened in July 2020. And these 3 properties, they are flighted on the slide, Chair. The first property was on 845 3rd Avenue, which is partially fit out, limited fit out required. And the second one is 205 East 42nd Street. And the third one is 220 East 42nd Street. And move to the next slide. Chair, a joint committee was established in line with the prescripts, supply chain procurement prescripts within the department and the government. A joint committee was established between the permanent mission to the UN and the consulate, including partner departments who are part of our mission in New York, to consider the options. The missions recommended the property situated at 845 3rd Avenue as the most suitable, representative, safe, and move-in ready building. The building, Chair, is also in close proximity to the United Nations Grand Central Station and is centrally located. The 2 other buildings were not move-in ready. The floor space needed a complete fit out, and as they are just a bare shell. The recommended property, Chair, will be subleased from the British Consulate for a fixed term until February 2025. Chair, the missions intend renting 2 floors, namely from the 9th floor and the 10th floor. And the 2 floors will not be shared with any other party, as the British vacated these floors in 2019. The space will thus be for the sole and express use of the Chancery. The building is already fitted, Chair, is already fitted out with consular and diplomatic facilities, including waiting rooms, booths for visa applications, interviews, etc. The building, Chair, also has adequate office space for both missions to accommodate all requirements of the Chancery. As earlier stated, Chair, the mission's request to relocate was considered as per the prevailing delegations of authority and approved by the Director General in September 2020. The approval, Chair, was subject to the following: the conversion of the offer document into a legal contract, Oxla, which is our legal unit, to advise on the desirability of a sublease as well as the terms of the contract. The mission was to submit the actual relocation costs rather than estimated costs, and the head office, special security and ICT, was to engage with the mission regarding security and ICT requirement for the layout of the 2 floors. In early November, Chair, 2020, the department received comments from Partner Department mainly related to the sublease, specifically concerning related to the ability of the landlord, being the British government, to have access to the floors for inspection and maintenance, the need for the landlord to be informed of structural changes to the property and possible implications for South Africa's sovereignty where the mission is accommodated in another mission. These concerns, Chair, were addressed by means of renegotiating the sublease agreement and landlord access and termination rights. These were included in the contract. And this process was, the mission was also guided by our legal. The contract negotiations, Chair, commenced in September 2020, and the final agreed text was received on 6 March 2021. In terms of the final text, the landlord will not have access to the floors without the express permission of the tenant. The mission also secured its rights to termination in the event of breach of contract. The mission does not intend making any structural changes to the property and will occupy the space fully. As such, the partner departments concerned have been addressed. And our legal team has also expressed that they are okay with the contract. Where we are now, Chair, Honorable Chair, the matter was referred to National Treasury to confirm whether a sublease complies with the PFMA and to give guidance on how the department should proceed. The matter is currently with the Office of the Chief Procurement Officer at National Treasury, as we would not want to enter into any contract without the authorization from Treasury. The partner department will be engaged again to ensure proper security arrangement as the new premises are adhered to and are implemented. The mission is currently updating its project plan to reflect the time needed for ICT cabling, procurement of some furniture, and actual relocation. The final time frame for the relocation is set to be by end of June 2021. However, this is dependent on a response from National Treasury, Partner Department security requirements, and timing for ICT connectivity. Hence, we've given this this project that it should be at least be finalized by end of the first quarter of 2021-2022 financial year. In terms of the lease agreement, Chair, the mission will receive a 6-month rent-free period, and this is the money, the rental saved over this period will be applied towards the funds needed for the relocation activities. Chair, the next slides is that the location and the address for the building and where it is located. Maybe if you could move to the actual offices. This is just the layout of the floors, some of the floors of the mission. The next. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you, Chair. I submit and thank you.
Honorable members, that's the presentation from the acting DG. Can I now note hands? Honorable members, are you sleeping? That's the presentation.
If I could assist, there are 3 hands, Chair.
I want all of them to raise their hands. They want to go one once.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry,
I
Chair.
want to note you.
Chair,
It's okay, Mr. Your
Chair, can I
hands
ask
must
for your
be up.
indulgence?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Chair. I think, Chair, you can proceed. The matter that I discussed with you, it's my secretary who just mixed things up and say I'm needed in another meeting when she is talking about another portfolio committee that is or study group that is servicing. So I'm here, Chair, but you can proceed.
Honorable members, yeah, I see here Honorable Bergman, Gosi, Chetty. So the rest of the members don't want to speak on this item, okay? You are covered. In that order.
Chair, thanks very much. I see the acting DGs learned very quickly. We're already starting with our tricks, and in the blocks now, there's only 3 blocks showing us where the property is, showing us the size of the property, and selling the property to us. But it's very hard to see the price of the property or the cost of the properties of the 3 properties in perspective. And I think when one is looking at the decisions, it's good and useful to actually have the costs of the properties. Something else that is of late becoming more and more evident is that when our diplomats leave their properties, there's a new trend for them to leave our trademark there, a signature trademark, which is costing South Africa quite a lot of money. And that's in the form of not just getting our deposit back, but having to pay damages. There's even an alleged one now in Austria, where this is now 40,000 euros that's being cost to DIRCO. Now, I'm wondering whether this is not an opportune time for us as a committee to look into the possibility of making an addition to the Foreign Services Bill to possibly build into it that when we sign such leases, that there's a clause that diplomats that take responsibility for rental properties would also take responsibility that if the deposit is not paid back for whatever reason, being damages or the like, that they would be responsible personally for those damages and that they would pay back the money themselves. Thank you very much.
Gosi?
Thanks, Chair, and I welcome the comprehensive report on moving. I just have a few questions and one comment. I will start with the comment. My comment is that I'm happy that in the contract negotiations, at least when we have an opt-out clause that enables us to cancel the contract should we find that there is breach on the side of the lessor or the landlord. But my question are, is this still temporary accommodation until we find alternative accommodation for the mission as planned in the pilot project? 2, is the department doing this on its own, or is there somebody, a professional, assisting it to identify the property and advise on the transaction itself in line with the market in that area? The other one is the budget for the lease and for how long, and is it sustainable? And I think Honorable Bergman touched on this issue, is the size versus the costs comparable? I know the size is a little bit bigger, but is the cost in line with the size? And on the issue that the property is ready for occupation, it may mean a lot of things. It may mean that, look, the building is properly partitioned, there's furniture, etc. But is it fit for purpose for the operations of the mission as it stands, or with any future improvements, so that we know that there's not going to be escalation later to say, look, we had to partition, we had to make offices fit for our own operations. Thanks, Chair.
Chetty? Honorable Chetty?
Thank you, Chair. I was just unmuting myself. Yeah, Chair. Let me just start off firstly by saying I love how when there are certain circumstances that happen, we become very creative and use the circumstances as being the reason or the tool as to why we need to do something. Chair, I want to apologize in advance. The presentation that was just flighted, I tried looking through my records and there were quite a few that we received from Mr. Lubabalu, but I couldn't find that one. So I'm not sure whether it's in one of the emails he sent through from yesterday. But just to make reference here, the acting GG said that part of the reason for the urgency in the relocation was due to the fact that the current building was housing the medical center and now one of the busiest COVID-19 stations. Chair, you and I and other members were on the oversight. And this was prior to COVID-19. And as a committee, before COVID-19, we had already made the comment that the building was not suitable to be housing our embassies or our missions. It would not bode well for South Africa's image to be housed in a hospital. So I just want to put that out there, Chair, Because you see, already we're having an issue where the fancy footwork is happening. That because of COVID-19 now we have to move, and because we have to move, we have to pay whatever we have to pay. And that's when certain tender processes and everything else becomes warped, because we use the issue of COVID-19. COVID-19 is like a cash cow. So I just want to make it very clear. Prior to COVID-19, the committee had already established the fact that this business, the building was unsuitable to house our embassies. So let's make that clear. The fact that the department dragged its feet from 2004 up until 2021 makes me wonder, had it not been COVID-19, would they even try to move, or would they still stay there and pay the exorbitant rent? Secondly, Chairperson, I'd like to know how much is the rental that we've now agreed for the new property? It is important that we get that. My next question, Chairperson, and if it's possible, if they can't slide the slide on the presentation, would identify the 3 buildings, if it's possible, Chairperson.
What do you want, Honorable JD?
Yeah, Chair, I just thought it was possible for them to fly the presentation where the 3 buildings that they had identified was listed. Is it possible?
It should be.
Thank you. Now, you see, Chairperson, this is where my problem is. The committee did the oversight. And I raised this when we had a discussion with the minister the last time. 845 3rd Avenue, 205 East 42 2nd Street, and 220 East 42nd Street. Now, Chair, during the remarks by the acting DG, they appreciated the efforts by the oversight committee and the work that we did when we went abroad. And that in turn also, augmented the case for them to want to move premises. So on one hand, you appreciate the fact that we did the oversight and we brought back the report to tell you it has to be done. But then what baffles my brains is, Chairperson, you will recall, again, together with the other members on the oversight, the first building we went and saw was a rundown, burnt, dilapidated, abandoned building, which is not mentioned on this. The second one that we visited was 885 2nd Avenue. And the third one was 605 3rd Avenue. Now, I'm having a problem here. So the ones that we had viewed and put into our report that we had spoken about, the very report that this presentation makes reference to, doesn't seem to gel. Did the committee or did the acting DG and her team consider the inputs from the report that the committee had submitted? Can the acting DG tell me when were these 3 properties that she has listed on her presentation emerged? When was it sourced? And what had happened to the other properties which we as the oversight committee were tasked to go and visit? Because Chairperson, you as well as other members will recall, and as members we will not mislead the committee, the one building that we saw already housed other embassies for safety purposes, which is one of the issues that I recall was raised, included by the minister, that we must consider the issues of safety because it's housing the embassy. So this building housed 3 other embassies, was fully fit and ready for us to walk in, similar to the 845 one. And the one which at that time was preferred was the bare shell. And at that point in time, we received the quotations for those buildings and the rental. So I would appreciate for the acting DG to please inform me, had they done the feasibility study and the inspection on the ones or the buildings that we as the oversight committee were led to go and see? And the second part will be around the rental. How much is this costing us for the one that she's proposing vis-a-vis the ones that we were already offered whilst we were there? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Msan.
Thank you, Chair. My points were going exactly to what Honorable Chetty has just highlighted. I wanted to also find out, Chairperson, because when we did the oversight, we got to see 3 buildings, and the committee also highlighted and gave advice, if you can say, which building would then be occupied or be proposed for occupation. However, when we are currently going through this report that has been presented, none of those are highlighted. Secondly, Chairperson, if I heard the acting DG correctly, is that the whole process now that the department has engaged on did include the state law advisor, which I would like us as this committee to note that the process also included the state law advisor, which we have found out in our previous meetings, Chairperson, that this department has always overlooked or least informed or allowed the state law advisor to be part of decisions or to advise the department on matters of importance. So, and Chairperson, my question also, in addition to that, would go to the moving in is in condition to ICT, if I heard correctly in the presentation, which is, I would also like to go back to what the previous chair was saying, that it disadvantages us as committee members to get reports late because it becomes like we are in a rally and we cannot interrogate reports and make reference of what we have witnessed or what we have recommended or what we have seen. But however the case may be, the procurement of the ICT as highlighted by the acting DG, is it an internal company that will do the ICT in this building, or has the department procured someone new, and were the processes and procedures followed if it's someone new? And also, Chairperson, was the department's infrastructure committee now involved in this current new space, which even this committee never got to witness? And how did they get to this new allocation offices that the acting DG is mentioning? And then also, Chair, how much are we renting for? Are we renting? Because as we read the recommendations and the findings of our oversight report, it was that for the pilot project to take place, the department had decided to follow a different process of housing our missions. Has that changed or it's still the same? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I see no other hands from the honorable members. Honorable members, before we allow the department to respond on the matter, when we were in New York, we saw a proper building and a parking lot. And a parking lot was not a building, it was just a parking lot. And I don't understand why do we have shelves even to date on the presentation by the department. It really confuses when we have shelves. And in your presentation, you state that the committee's oversight visit and subsequent COVID situation compelled the department to initiate urgent steps to relocate the mission. How so? What about the two properties which I've just mentioned? One, the parking lot like of a horror movie, and the other, which was more suitable and preferred by the missions that we visit, with the mission that we visited while on oversight visit, which you did not continue with. Were you not compelled at that time to do the same thing? I need an explanation on that. You know what, we might brush off the issue of the late submission of the presentations to the portfolio committee, and it is now becoming a norm lately. And I don't know whether the late submission of the presentation to the committee was intentional and intended to deliberately disarm the committee to thoroughly engage on the matter. But I want to say here, Minister, that in our next meetings with the department, we need to get the presentation a day before the portfolio committee. Last time we had to cancel because we did not get the report. We got the report and the presentation at 12 midnight and we had canceled the meeting. We can't go on and continue like that. It's not going to work for us because some of us, we like reading and prepare for the meetings of Parliament so that we are not found wanting. Now, what I want to understand is that the mission has been ready to move out of that building since we were there. And I believe they are still ready even now. Why do you want them to move in June, July? Not now. And what are the legal opinions around this matter? It's important that the Chief Law State Advisor is involved, because last time we were told that they were not involved. Now we want to know which is the preferred building by the mission amongst the buildings which you have presented to us here today. We want to know which one is the preferred building by the mission, because I think they are better placed to advise the department as to which building is suitable, because they are sitting in Pretoria and they're sitting in New York. You wouldn't know for sure which building is the best suitable for them. Now the lease is for 5 years. What are the plans for an alternative permanent office? Mr. Hendricks, can you mute your mic, please? You are disturbing the meeting, and you always do this. Not on. Thank you. What are the plans for an alternative permanent office? Because as the portfolio committee, we've been consistent that we need to acquire our own as opposed to renting, because renting is very costly for the department. We need to move from the renting, because renting has proven to be not viable for the department and the missions. And lastly, what happened to the buildings which were identified and we saw in New York? Because the buildings that you are presenting here today are new buildings, as opposed to the ones that we visited and saw in New York. If there's no other hand from honorable members, I will therefore allow the department to respond on what we have raised. Honorable Chetty, Honorable Nkosi, please lower your hands because you have spoken already. Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
Chair, there's a new hand.
There's no new hand. You have asked your question and the department has not responded on that question you asked earlier on. Lower your hands. We'll give you a second bite, please. Over to you, department. And mute your mic.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. To respond to Honorable Bergman, indeed, we have discussed the accommodation policy in the department, having seen what happened in Vienna, and we have been by our executive instructed to review the accommodation policy for our transferred officials and ensure that, like you have alluded to, Honorable Bergman, that officials take responsibility of the properties that they are rented. So this is what we are looking at in the department, Honorable Bergman. Then you asked a question which was also raised by Honorable Nkosi, whether this time are the buildings market value. He also asked the budget, is the building fit for purpose, or will there be any alterations to the property? And also Honorable Nkosi asked whether how long is the lease for, how long will we lease the building? The contract, honorable members, will be until 2025, but there's an escape clause, like we had said, that we have negotiated within the contract. The mission, in fact, through our legal team, have negotiated the contract as in such that there's an escape clause when a need arises. On the who advised the mission on the accommodation, yes, and the honorable chair raised this issue as well. The mission itself, because they are in New York, honorable members, they contacted 3 real estate agencies from the mission supplied database. And they were, according to the report they've given us, they have had an opportunity to view 12 buildings. And these 3 buildings, Honorable Chair, where these 3 buildings were shortlisted. And indeed, the one that, Honorable Chair, the mission has proposed, has recommended, is fit for purpose, and it is at a market value and even cheaper than the other buildings, the 2 other buildings as per square meters, because the mission looked at the property, looked at the size, and looked at the fit out and the rate per square meter, and they were advised by they went with the estate agents. On whether is the budget, yes, the cost is within the current allocation budget, and the building is fit for purpose, as it was previously used for the same purpose that the department is going to use. And we will not, there was another question whether the committee won't then hear of escalated fees because we would say we had to alter and so forth. No, it's also in the contract that we will not make any changes to the structure. So this is the contract that was negotiated, that indeed we will not make any changes to the structure. Honorable Chetty, yes, indeed, honorable member, you are correct. The building was not suitable for the staff to work in. Indeed, you're very correct. It's a hospital. And maybe the reference to COVID was that then with the COVID and the hospital, it then, that's when the agency came in. So not necessarily because it was because of COVID, but because it's a hospital and it posed a risk. And this is exactly, I do agree, honorable members, this is exactly what was pointed out by the committee when they visited New York. Honorable Msane, the mission did a fresh start in the search for accommodation following the procurement processes. ICT is mainly to assess the needs, of the mission, which will determine if the department need a private company or it can be done internally by our ICT. Usually, sometimes when the missions are relocating, and if it's a minor project, we would sometimes send our own members to assist. On the ICT, the CIO has also confirmed that they are busy with the approval processes. We had advertised, honorable members, and they are busy with the processes which we would want to finalize as soon as possible. So there are procurement processes in place. The reason there was a question that why, from the honorable chair, why not now? Honorable Chair, we would not want to take shortcuts, but we understand the agency and we really, really understand the agency, but we are consulting with the Treasury so that we don't miss any step. And the move is planned for June based on the National Treasury's response, ICT and security. ICT is to make sure that the mission has all the necessary needs, and security, then that assessment will be coming from our farm. It is the mission, honorable members, that proposed and recommended this building. Why and would we in the future purchase? Yes, indeed, permanent accommodation is exactly what the Honorable Chairperson has alluded to, is what the department would like to consider. And we need we are going to be speaking to the Treasury to ensure that we follow the correct process and with the availability of the budget, Honorable Chair. Yeah, I hope I have managed to answer most of the questions, honorable members. Thank you.
Chairperson, would you allow me on one of the questions, please?
Aibo.
Am I breaking a rule? My apologies if I am.
Minister, you are allowed.
Thank you for your kindness, Chairperson, and the indulgence. I wanted to just go back to the question that had been posed.
Honorable Minister.
I wanted to go back, Chair, to the question that was posed by Honorable Msani, and indeed yourself, you referred to it as well. The Office of the Chief State Law Advisor on International Relations has been fully involved, as I understand it, from the report I received from the acting DG on this lease process, and has in fact given advice with respect to the content of the lease and any amendments that were made following the discussions with the mission. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you so much, Minister. Honorable Chetty, Honorable Msane, Honorable Swartz. The question which is not answered by the department, acting DG, is a question which says, why was the relocation not done in 2014 when the lease expired? That question is not answered by the presentation, and I think we really need to get the answer on that. I am happy to hear that the building which you have shown us is a building which is recommended by the mission. However, we must still know what happened to the other buildings which we viewed and saw when we were in New York, which were also one of them was a preferred building by the mission, and we thought that building was decent enough to be our mission in that particular land, which is called New York. And I'm going to note Honorable Swartz, Honorable Chetty, I see your hand is up. Yeah, Honorable Msane, also I see your hand is up, in that order.
Yeah.
Aibu. Swartz.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good evening to the ministers and all other honorable members and officials. Chair, I first start want to comment on what you earlier commented on in terms of the manner in which we get presentations, because it would make us to feel as if the department in a way tries and disarms us, because we get presentations very late and it makes it quite difficult for us to fully engage. But mine is to ask Chair, what are the processes that the department is going through to acquire a property for rental purpose? And also, what kind of procurement process is being undertaken by the mission or head office with respect to the earlier or current relocation exercise? How has the mission branch or head office played their roles in this respect? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chetty.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Chair, I'm not sure whether my mic must have been on mute when I was talking, because whatever I asked of the acting DG, and nothing was answered, and nor did she make reference to any of the questions I asked. So let me just tell you this much. I asked about when this was negotiated, but it's okay. Let me give her the answer. This was negotiation started in September 2020. And on the 6th of March 2021, they received a text to say it's confirmed. So in 7 months' time, they managed to start the process to look for the buildings, identify the buildings, and get the confirmation in 7 months. I find it very strange, again, that they had a lease for 10 years where the lease rental was fixed at the existing building. And thereafter, it was increased up until May 2004. That ran up until April 2014. From April 2014 up until today, we are paying an exorbitant amount over and above what the lease agreement was. Now, during all of these times, the very same department couldn't find and move fast enough to relocate the missions to a new premises, although these premises had been identified all this time. All of a sudden, magically, in 7 months' time, they've managed to do this. Now, some people can say we've been difficult, instead of being happy that they are moving. We still want to criticize the fact. But yeah, this is where the problem lies. If the urgency was there to move, why was the buildings that were already identified when the oversight visit was done, why were those buildings not considered? So let me tell you this much. The last time we spoke and the minister said she is not into real estate and she wouldn't know what the rentals were. So today we get the presentation who tells us it's $42 a square meter. Chairperson, the two buildings that we had seen was $31 a square meter and $37 a square meter. So you do the math as well. That's why the question I even asked was, how much are we paying rent? What are we going to be paying at the new place? What will we pay in the old place? And what would have been the cost had we taken the option that we as a committee had overseen, visited? The other issue I have, Chairperson, is that this New York pilot project has been a thorn in our side from the day we got to this committee. And I find it very strange that the department were already in negotiations as of September, and there was no report or some kind of feedback presented to us as a committee when we were meeting. Nothing, nada. Surely somewhere, somehow, the fact that the oversight report is what made reference earlier on in the presentation. So you're speaking to our report, but you don't think it is at the very least, and I used the term when the minister was there, when she suspended the DG, a courtesy to the very people that go out and do the work to inform us. And maybe at that time, neither you, Chair, or the other three members and myself who were on the oversight would have been shocked to look at the new addresses that are presented to us, which is foreign to us. The other issue, Chairperson, is this. Have we not learned anything? We took a rental of a building for 10 years. Somebody else bought it, it became a hospital. They increased the rental. We had no option but to pay it for the last 10 years. We're now going into the same deal. Why do we want to sublease out of the British consulate? Why are we not going in on our own? Now, Chair, I understand that currently the British consulate has got that head lease. Who says that we have to go and take it over from them? Surely there are other properties, like the ones we went and viewed, that were available. And Chair, again, you know, when I was asking the minister, her response to me was that her job is not to go out and look for the properties. I agree. But then there are those of us in Parliament who come here to play our oversight role, which is what you, myself, and this committee does every single time we come to these meetings. Now, Chair, I ask you this question. If the department went and viewed 12 sites, and of the 12 sites, the best they could identify, and according to them, and in their words, let me not put words in their mouth, 12 properties were viewed and 3 properties were shortlisted for consideration as they met the criteria of affordability, security, accessibility, and space. And of the 3 that they have decided on, only 1 was partially fit out, limited fit out required, while the other 2 were the bare shells. Now, common sense will tell you, if I am looking for